Tucked under a railway bridge close to Lambeth Bridge in London, the property has an unimpressive entrance consisting of a rough, graffitied wall. The prominent logo above the door does not convey the basic beauty of what is inside. An amateur boxing club, to those who are not familiar with the warp and weft of boxing, a boxing institution and sanctuary to those who have come to know it as one of the pillars of the amateur sport. A place where boys of all creeds and colors find community, refuge, purpose, and a code of conduct in the challenging and complex world they now find themselves in. That insignia, FL, in an elegant, modern font, declares the location as the home of Fitzroy Lodge. A local doctor started the club in 1908 to try to improve the health of the people of Lambeth through exercise, but it became something much more when it moved under these arches more than 75 years ago. Under the care of two titans of the London boxing scene, Billy Webster and Mick Carney, it became a place that, in the words of one of its many alumni, took in waifs, strays, street lunatics, and world-class fighters, molding, shaping, and creating every kind of boxer while assisting boys in becoming men. In 2011, Webster and Carney passed away within 9 months of one another, leaving the task to another coach deeply ingrained in the community, renowned former amateur fighter Mark Reigate, who had the opportunity to become a successful coach to professional boxers, but chose to stay and change the lives of those who enter through the doors and walk up that graffitied alley. Not only has the Lodge, under Reigate's leadership, come to support young boxers, but the Fighting Chance charity has brought in ex-servicemen who were struggling physically and mentally after serving in the military, and Carney's community, the Lodge's partner charity, has taken in underprivileged, marginalized youth. The old place had been severely damaged by years of use. Water slowly leaking through the corrugated domed roof had discolored the walls, the floor was in terrible shape, the changing rooms were hardly functional, and an external wall was collapsing. However, on Tuesday night, Fitzroy Lodge was brought back to life through a massive renovation project that, in incredibly subtle ways, managed to preserve the place's soul. The gym's familiar corrugated roof is still there, along with a new gutter system that has been cut into the walls and a new airflow system that prevents condensation on the gym's famous and conspicuous mirrors. A new floor has been installed throughout the facility, preserving the small nooks and crannies that all visitors, including David Haye, the multiple cruiserweight and heavyweight world champion, are familiar with since he was first brought in as a 10-year-old and left among men and brawlers. Learn to listen, listen to learn, which was once scrawled in blue paint on the gym's walls by an old Fitzroy trainer named Freddie Hill, has remained, though it's still only partially readable, which adds to the charm. The unique swing doors that lead through to the newly renovated and insulated dressing rooms have been coated with low-impact paint so they will quickly wear and resemble the old ones. The renovated women's changing rooms in a section of the corrugated roof area change the atmosphere for female boxers who use it as a gym as well. A plaque commemorating the reporter's contribution has been placed beneath the black and white photos of Webster and Carney, who look down on their gym's flourishing boxing life every evening. Lord Rothermere, Jonathan Harmsworth, unveiled it Tuesday. The Rothermere Foundation, whose £150,000 charitable donation made the renovations possible, wanted to mark this milestone in the Lodge's history. In addition to reflecting on Powell's journalistic contributions over the course of more than 35 years of covering the sport's greatest fights from around the world, the renovation, which was quietly prompted and overseen by Rupert Harmsworth, one of the gym's main motivators, was a chance to think about the subtle and underappreciated role boxing plays in bridging the divides endangering some of London's most underprivileged communities. This place taught me that. I was one of those kids that always got into trouble, ducking and diving. Fitzroy Lodge saved me, taught me about routine, control, and structure. I wanted to give something back. The young men at the gym have been taught to extend a hand and word of welcome to visitors, which is unusual in the modern world. Reigate says his work is worthy of an MBE. A member of his coaching staff is Liverpoolian Robbie O'Neill, a screenwriter and actor who balances his career with mentoring youngsters who are at risk of being expelled from school. Because he starred in the award-winning Netflix drama Adolescence, which focused on the negative effects of social media and online subcultures on young men, including themes like misogyny, the manosphere, and toxic ideas of masculinity, O'Neill has a particularly keen perspective on the difficulties faced by young boys. These kids get lost. This isn't just about the manosphere, but it's gang culture, football hooliganism, and the casual subculture. Everyone is looking for something to belong to, and if you find a place like this, you do belong. A lodge boy is a way to describe someone in a time when many young men are trying to figure out who they are and what the world is like. These guys are a part of a collective, but people think boxing is an individual sport. This is a place where young people can go to release their stress, and if they need someone to talk to, we're here to help. It takes various life experiences to make a group of mentors seem legitimate. Linton Eimer, another of Reigate's coaches, entered Fitzroy Lodge in 2006, just after being sentenced to 5 years in prison for conspiracy to burgle. That was the thing for me and my boys back then, he recalls. Before sparring with lodge boxer Ede Omaregi, we were doing the jewelry shops in the West End, taking the Rolexes. He was incarcerated again in 2012, but returned to boxing and the same gym after being released in 2016. I tell them how it is, how I was shot in the leg and stabbed 5 times. And I say, whatever you're doing, you need to stop, mate, because everything you're doing, I've already done. We tell them, whatever your problems are outside the gym, leave it outside the gym, leave it outside the gym. We're all one here. And I also have a different perspective on life now. My life has not always been easy, but when I came here, I felt a sense of belonging, says 22-year-old Akin Tiani, a recently crowned England national champion who hopes to compete for Team GB at the next Olympics. Talking with young boxers is what most attests to the kind of young people the lodge sends out into the world. Gianni arrived last week to train and spar. There are people from different backgrounds and environments, but they all have one thing in common. This place kept me going when I lost my passion for the sport. Due to noise insulation included in the renovation, one of the traditional well-known sounds that Fitzroy Lodge has heard for generations, trains pounding across the tracks above the arches, has now faded into the background. Places like this are the heartbeat of boxing, Powell says, adding that the distinctive, classic boxing gym smell is still present as soon as you walk through the doors. One of the 2 powerful men who shaped the region, Carney always encouraged his young boxers to be the best you can be in life. Given the current concerns about how to support youth in urban areas plagued by knife crime and violence, it would be wise to post those words above the door of every school.